Thunderstorms and cyclones are some of the most destructive forces known to man. In a space of days or even hours, they can bring life over large areas to a complete standstill and cause death and destruction, as they do in different parts of the world every year. But long before humans walked the face of the Earth, our planet experienced a rainstorm of unimaginably epic proportions. Around 230 million years ago, the forces of nature unleashed a downpour that lasted over 2 million years, transforming the planet from a dry, barren desert to a lush, wet, tropical rainforest and changing the course of Earth's history forever. This 2 million year storm killed off a lot of species, but also allowed others to thrive, paving the way for the dinosaurs to dominate the landscape. This is a story of the Earth's wettest period, when the heavens opened in a way it never had before and never has since. An event that puts the biblical 40-year storm to shame. Our story begins 250 million years ago, at the beginning of the Triassic period. All the continents were locked together from pole to pole to form one giant supercontinent called Pangaea. The center of this gigantic landmass was so far away from the coast that it barely received any rainfall at all, with the rain clouds unable to move much past the coastline, while there were almost no big mountain ranges to break up the land. This was one of the warmest periods in our planet's history. Much of the world during this time was not too dissimilar to what the Australian outback is today: hot, flat, and very, very dry. Small reptiles and mammals thrived in this sweltering heat, with these species having adapted to living in this extremely dry landscape. However, rock samples from around the world tell us that with almost no warning, around 234 million years ago, the climate changed completely, with the planet suddenly becoming much, much wetter. Rain suddenly came to this dry world, which, at first, was a welcome sight for many of the species, but there was one problem. The rains went on and on and on, continuing to pour down incessantly for almost 2 million years, pushing a lot of the dominant species to the brink of extinction and allowing others to dominate the planet for hundreds of millions of years to come. This episode, which is known as the Carnian Pluvial Event, saw the dinosaurs go from species occupying a narrow ecological niche to one that would take over the planet. So what caused this sudden shift in climate? One of the most ferocious forces that the planet has ever experienced: flood basalt eruptions. Most of you know that supervolcanoes, like the one under Yellowstone National Park, erupt with thousands of times more energy than a regular volcano. But flood basalt eruptions are even more powerful, ejecting thousands of times more material than even supervolcanoes do. And what's more, they erupt for a much longer duration, sometimes lasting millions of years. You can see evidence of flood basalt eruptions scattered around the world today, with these events creating huge swaths of land formed by cooled flows of basalt rock, which are often kilometers deep, such as the Siberian traps in northern Russia and the Deccan traps in western India. Unsurprisingly, many of these flood basalt eruptions line up with our planet's biggest mass extinction events. However, strangely, one of these events does not coincide with an extinction event, but rather with an increase in the richness of life on Earth. This is the eruption that led to our rain-making event. This event was kick-started by a flood basalt eruption in the Wrangelian region of Pangaea, which is now in modern-day Canada and Alaska. So what separated this eruption from the rest? The answer is its size. This eruption lasted for more than 5 million years, churning out layers of lava that solidified into rock formation an unbelievable 6 kilometers thick. Although the initial event wiped out around 30% of all species on Earth, overall, it eventually gave a boost to the biodiversity on the planet. Why? Because this eruption pumped a huge amount of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases into the Earth's atmosphere, leading to an unimaginable scale of global warming. The estimated CO2 level in the atmosphere at this time was over 1,000 parts per million, around 2.5 times what it is today. Much more of the sun's heat was trapped by the thickened atmosphere, thus supercharging the Earth's water cycle. This meant that over the next 2 million years, much more water evaporated from the Earth's oceans and fell back down as rain. The intensity and the incessant nature of this downpour was magnitudes of times more severe than anything humans would have experienced, even in the wettest parts of the world. As a result, the interior parts of Pangaea, which previously got almost no rain, suddenly experienced a persistent deluge, a deluge that must have seemed like it would never stop. This event served to shuffle the deck of life on Earth as species that had previously adapted to dry weather were pushed to the brink of extinction. The changes in the type of vegetation in Pangaea meant that other species started thriving. Additionally, the animals alive at the time also had to deal with an increase in the pH levels in their environment because this was no ordinary rain. Since hydrogen sulfide gas was also pumped into the atmosphere by the Wrangelian eruption, this reacted with oxygen and water to form sulfuric acid, leading to a phenomenon more commonly known as acid rain. The slightly acidified water pummeled down constantly, further contributing to the stress that some species were facing. However, this too had an additional benefit that would pave the way for new species to dominate. The acidic flows eroded the land, cutting through limestone and dolomite rocks and creating vast cave systems within these rocks that provided new, unique habitat for life to exploit. What was previously a dry desert environment in the middle of Pangaea changed to a tropical rainforest in astonishingly quick time, completely changing the character of our planet. While many species rose and fell during this tumultuous period, the most interesting story is undoubtedly that of the dinosaurs, who won the geological lottery. At this time, one of the oldest known dinosaur species, Herrerasaurus, which was around 6 meters in length, was confined to the Ishigualasto Formation, a small volcanic floodplain in what is modern-day northwestern Argentina. This species was an outlier at the time, with the planet dominated by smaller reptiles and mammals who were much better equipped to handle the dry environment. However, when the rain began to fall, Herrerasaurus's habitat spread across Pangaea. As it advanced deeper into the supercontinent to the newly forming lush rainforests, it was greeted by a landscape of incredible abundance. The next few million years would be a boom period for the dinosaurs as new species emerged and spread like wildfire across Pangaea. Within a space of a few million years, the dinosaurs went from not featuring at all in the fossil record to absolutely dominating it. By the time the incessant rains and flooding ended 2 million years later, the planet was well into the era of the dinosaurs, paving the way for the beginning of the Jurassic period. These species would continue to be at the top of the food chain for more than 150 million years before the deck of life was shuffled again on Earth unexpectedly. Our planet's history tells us that nature giveth and nature taketh away. Just as a sudden destructive event led to the proliferation of the dinosaurs, another even more sudden one wiped them off the face of the Earth. Only this time, the danger did not come from below the ground as a volcanic eruption, but rather came from the sky in the form of an asteroid, roughly 10 kilometers in diameter. This asteroid crashed into what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico 66 million years ago, causing unimaginable damage and ending the story of the dinosaurs even more swiftly than it had begun. This extinction event opened another ecological niche, paving the way for smaller mammals to take over the planet, eventually leading to the evolution of Homo sapiens. If these events had not happened exactly the way they did, we would likely not be here. And without the arrival of intelligent species, the great stories of our planet's past would have remained undiscovered and untold. The story of the planet's geological history is thus, in many ways, the story of mankind. The Carnian pluvial event was merely a blink of an eye when you're talking about geological timescales, but those 2 million years were among the most crucial periods in Earth's history, leaving an indelible mark on our planet and changing its character forever. The flood basalt eruptions in Canada and Alaska might not seem significant, but it kick-started a series of events that has ultimately led to you watching this video on the internet 230 million years later. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. And if you want to learn more about such unique places and phenomena, subscribe to the channel. We will continue bringing you stories and ideas that blow your mind as the truth, as they say, is stranger than fiction.